let me know.
All right, I'm recording so you can do it.
Oh, great. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is our last, maybe, potentially, in our Lunchtime Talk series. My name is Krista Holful. I think I know everyone. For those of you who might not know me, I'm Krista Holful. I'm the Senior Curator, Artistic Director here at the South Bend Museum of Art. And today I'm introducing Cassi Graber for our Lunchtime Talk. And I have a nice little intro that I wrote for you, if I do say so myself. So I want to start with a quote that you have in your artist statement, and it's also predominant on your website. I need my glasses. And the quote is, "Art should bring joy." And I love that. So art should bring joy. Well, an art student at Columbia College in Chicago, a restaurant asked Cassi Graber to paint a large mural in their new building. She candidly says it was a new form for her to create. She had never done a large-scale mural like that, and it was a big task. And she was really unsure if she could do it. But she set aside what I like to call that annoying roommate voice that we all have in our brains, that tells us we can't do things. It gives, that voice that gives doubt to things that are a challenge. So she told that annoying roommate to go in their room. And she really jumped into this experience. So she worked 16, 17-hour days on this mural to meet the deadline. She absolutely loved the process. The clients loved the piece, and Cassi was off to the races with this career path. One thing I found really interesting, it made sense when I read about it on your website and in your artist statement, but I don't think a lot of mural artists do it, was your background in faux finishing and going to a faux finishing school in Louisville, Kentucky, learning about different artistic finishes like marbling or leafing, like gold leafing or pewter leafing. And she says, once I learned about this unique approach to mural painting, I could recognize the techniques and the rich textures that you create on your, on a 2D plane. Cassi has been painting murals for over 15 years with a variety of clients, businesses, schools, on public city projects, for private homeowners, and of course not-for-profit organizations like the SBMA. I will say I've personally witnessed audiences coming through the show and seeing Cassi's mural and experiencing the joy that you want to elicit in your work. This is a mural that elicits a lot of wonder and awe, I think, which is what innovation can do for us emotionally. So it doesn't illustrate as much as it embodies that idea of innovation. It also makes us see present-day things in an entirely new way, which is one thing that I love about artwork. So please help me welcome Cassi to the mic to talk about her mural process.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you what an awesome experience this has been and what a blessing it's been to work with everyone here, to meet the other muralists, and just to be a part of a really cool community project. I've talked to many of you kind of about this mural, and that's kind of what I'm going to start with today, since she so lovely gave me a great introduction. When we got together, we wanted to talk about innovation in South Bend and kind of bring highlights to what is actually going on in this city. And so we had a nice round table where we brought in lots of different community leaders to talk about what they're doing and what others are doing in the community. And I took several things away from that, and I also kind of went on my own rabbit trail on the internet onto other things that were happening in the community. And so I'm just going to kind of run through some of the imagery you see here on this mural and go through kind of why I painted it and how I organized it. So over here we have the light pillars. And, I'm not sure if some of them have been taken down. I know they're at Sites Park where they are now rebuilding it. They had to tear it down. I'll talk about that in a second. But South Bend Parks Art, okay, let me get this right. South Bend Arts, Parks and Venues, is that correct? They have done an amazing, amazing job in the city to build parks, to create spaces and events and just all kinds of things to bring the community together and to just bring places of, like she said, joy, places where people can come and they can enjoy each other, they can enjoy the area, they can have something nice to look at, something nice to play in and be around. So these light pillars here, they are part of the South Bend lights. They've also put lights on the bridge, Jefferson Street Bridge, that they'll light up at night and change the colors, and it's just really cool to see. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you go out at night and see that. But they also have these light pillars there that are just kind of geometric, and they turn colors at night, and it's just another fun thing to look at right off of the water, and to just really enjoy the city and enjoy the river in a different way. Behind that, I have a hydroelectric, what would you call that? What is that called? Turbine. Thank you, turbine. And that represents the hydroelectric plant that Notre Dame has just installed. They tore out the park. If anyone goes over by the East Race, which I'm sure many people have, there's a park that you can walk to right over the bridge. There's an island, and it's called Sites Park. Well, they tore that out, and Notre Dame built this hydroelectric dam to help produce energy for the actual campus, to have another way of producing energy that's different than what they have had before, like coal, for example. So they basically built this huge dam project underneath the park, which they are now covering up and rebuilding Sites Park on top of. And that dam is going to produce 7% of the university's energy, which is amazing. And so I'm excited to see when that's done, and I highly recommend anyone go see that. I kind of included this water as like the movement through the turbine that it creates. Behind that, you can see the yellow, the blue, the white, kind of in a pattern, and I would hope everyone familiar with South Bend knows what the flag looks like, but that is the South Bend flag, and I wanted to include that kind of design behind, kind of as the background to all these other things that are going on. And I also created that as a movement into the other side of the mural. So then after that, you can kind of see this purple and pink area up here kind of fades. That's representative of solar panels that Indiana Michigan Power is now building in several of the cornfields around here, actually, to help produce more energy and help use land and produce just a different kind of farming. That's what they call it, a solar farm, a different kind of farming on that land. So it's not wasted, it's still being used. And yeah, so I have that. They're going to be building some more of those, so be on the lookout for them. I know there's a few more coming. If you see over here, like the South Bend flag kind of runs underneath and then pops up in this fiber optic cable, and that I wanted it to represent is what's called dark fiber or fiber optic cables that run under the city and run through this region that were unused, and they're actually being used now by a company called Choice Light, where they're using these cables that were previously unused to produce internet. Oh, sorry guys. I talk with my hands a lot. Is that okay? Yeah. Sorry about that. It actually produces like a faster process for videos, any kind of streaming, and they're connecting it through to many of the businesses, the non-for-profits in the area. So I believe Memorial uses it. do you guys use it here at the museum?
We do.
Okay, I was wondering if you did. So it's just this, it's something that's being used that wasn't previously used, and it's actually better, which is kind of crazy to think about, but that's just another very innovative thing that's happening here, which I think is amazing. And then there's a couple other things going on. So over here you see kind of the growth of a plant. And if you go about the city, you can see like empty warehouses in certain places more than others. And there's a company that bought at least one. I'm not sure if there's more. I was trying to do a little research on that, but that began to grow hydroponic plants to sell in local grocery stores. These plants don't use any. I think it's like 90% less water. I forget the soil. I have it on my phone here. But it's a very, very green process. There's a lot less used in the process of growing plants. And they're just popping up. I know they're planning on some other areas where they're going to start doing more of the hydroponic plants, just because they're easier to produce and they're very healthy for you. People don't even harvest them. They're harvested through machinery. It's just a really cool thing. And then let's see, I have some stars around here which go with the flag, and then behind me, as you can see, is this eye. When originally they were talking about having this mural exhibition, they asked us each of the muralists where we would want to do our mural, and I always tend to go for the hardest thing possible. That's just extremes. Like, that's just what I like to do. And I was like, give me the corner, because I want to do something really cool in the corner that like pops, that, brings the whole thing together. And as I was kind of going through the process of designing, I had a few options, but then when I saw the eye, I was like, I've got to do this eye. And then I tried to think of how I could incorporate it. Obviously, this is called Visualizing Innovation. That's the name of this exhibition. And so I thought it was perfect. And then I was like, I have to have, some kind of reflection in the eye of something, that relates to South Bend. And as you drive north from the south of South Bend, if you drive north, the three tallest buildings you're going to see first are the Liberty Tower, the County City Building, which is the second one, and the AT&T Tower. So I just thought, I'm going to include those in there as kind of that reflection of what you're going to see. And as you see, the Liberty Tower has been redone. It looks amazing now. It's gone through a lot of changes over the years, but it's still standing. And I think that represents a lot of South Bend. There's a lot of changes that South Bend has gone through, and it's still here, and it's just amazing. And I love to see the community. I think through this project, I've learned a lot about how much this community really cares about community. It's not so much money driven, but they want to build each other up and to connect and to innovate together. So that's kind of the description of this mural, and I don't know if you guys have any questions or any comments. I would love to hear them. Yes.
So, when I some of the artists, I asked like, what brushes do you use? But I'm really curious about the brushwork. Like, do you use like those special faux finishing brushes, or what kind of brushes do you use? Might be an overly technical.
No, that's okay.
I'm just asking another
Yeah.
artist, like what.
So I love I don't know, I'm not sure of the technical name, but like the brushes that a painter would get to paint trim, because they're like using a knife, a really sharp knife, and they're just like butter, I just love them. But I also, let me tell you, if you are going to be painting, I highly recommend this. It's like kids art pack of colorful, like little paintbrushes that you get at Walmart for $7. And I probably buy a pack every 2 months, and I go through it. I mean, they're just really great to paint with. But I go through brushes pretty fast, is because I paint on a lot of rough walls. So, but I don't know why. I've tried a lot of brushes, but that pack at Walmart for kids, plus it's colorful. So, yeah.
Now I'm wondering, are they nylon bristle as opposed?
I think so. Yeah.
As a kid, though.
Yeah. Yes.
During the roundtable discussion, was there one comment or one concept that kind of stood out for you that either was unexpected, surprising, or kind of like when you heard it, you thought, okay, that's something I'm probably going to work with when I come up with the mural?
There was a lot said. I was really processing a lot of that. Let me go back to it. I'm trying to think of who was sitting next to me. I'm terrible with names, but I think it was really interesting what the young man from Lang Lab said about like doing art for just art's sake, for fun, because I really don't do that, to be honest. I do it as a job, and so I don't know, for me personally, that was good, and I think that's something that everyone can learn in their own field, to do what they're doing for fun as well. Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense, but oh yeah.
Yes, I was intrigued with the rope that you're using to make the circle and everything. Have you ever done a circle before like this, of this magnitude? I mean, because the proportions look fantastic, and I know it was a very tedious job to do that.
Yeah, so I haven't actually projected murals until recently. I would always graph them out on the wall, because you can be very, it's just more accurate, but it takes more time. So I knew I didn't have like a lot of time, so I was like, I'm projecting this, but doing a circle with a projector is hard. Yeah, so and I've used that before, like you would in school with a, what are they called? Protractor, thank you. So yeah, you just, put a point on the wall and get your string and your pencil, and you just go around in a circle. It was a little harder to do on this, but I think it worked out in the end. I was a little nervous about that. I was like, oh, you didn't know what you were getting into with that circle. So, but yeah, no, that's fun. So that's how you create perfect circles, by the way, if you ever have to. Yes.
I am super intrigued by, like, can you describe since you projected this one,
Mm-hmm.
traced it, can you describe your process, like how, maybe currently, like how you start with an idea, like is it a sketch, like then do you do like a digital, like how do you approach that?
Again, like I'm old school, so I've been using paper and pencil up until probably last year. Like when I did the Howard Park mural, I did it like on this really tiny piece of paper because it had to be really long, and I painted it like, but after that job, I was like, I don't have time for that. Like it just takes a lot of time. And, so I've had to learn to use the computer. So I have an iPad with Procreate, and I just put my dimensions in there of the wall space and then kind of sketch from there. And the great thing about that is you can sketch 100 times and you can erase it in 2 seconds and start over and play with colors. So I did have fun with this because I wanted it to be very multi-dimensional. So I just was able to play around with a lot of graphic pictures, all that, to kind of bring it together and look right.
Because the composition is incredible.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's something I've been working on more as I kind of watch other muralists, artists that I admire. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And I think the dimension is definitely is something that separates people on that level. Yeah.
Question. So, being that you all had the same prompt,
Yeah.
you know, how did, I mean, it's interesting to see the variations
Mhm.
of how people like interpreted that prompt
Yeah.
to their murals. Like, how is it when you came together and you started like seeing, and like, where was the discussion when you like see the other artists and their prompts, like how you all interpreted it? Like, how did that like, I guess like, how did that affect you, and how did that, like, how did you learn from that, or what did you see?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it was cool to watch how other people work, because we all have our different style of how we work, and the things that we gravitate toward, the things that we're really good at, each individual. I just admire each one of them for the different things they've done and how they went about it. For me, my process has always been, what does the client want? And so I don't have a personal style. So it was cool to see people that have styles do their style. And I learned from that. And so I don't know, I might try to develop some of whatever my own style is. I think my own style would be very impressionistic, but it's just been cool to watch them and learn different techniques that they use. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
I'm sure they learned from you too. So
Yeah, right. And that's why I love this, because it was really cool to work with everyone. So.
Have you ever had an experience like this before with like?
No, I haven't. Mm-mm. It's usually me, myself, and I. So, and I hire my friends to come do, background work or something like that, which is nice, because then I have someone to talk to. Yeah.
Any more questions? Well, thank you so much,
Okay.
Cassie.
Yeah, thank you.